A CSV file or a comma separated value file is commonly used to store data in a plain text. So it contains a list of values with a separator that will be found between the columns and also between the row values. So using this separator, this CSV data can be converted to a tabular format. Hello viewers, in this video, I'll walk you through the methods of converting a CSV file to a data frame and vice versa. Subscribe to my channel to get alerts on more videos on Python and data science. First, what are the ways to access this CSV data? Many a times, whatever data we want to process will be placed in an Excel file for easy analysis. Say for example, I have this file where I have all the required information. Now, I want to import this data into a data frame. So for that, I'll first save this file as sample1.csv by selecting this option CSV delimited, so that I can read this CSV file to convert to a data frame. The other option is that I can define the values in a CSV format in my Python code to read the data. In this video, I'll be explaining you on both these options. First, let's look at the very basic example where I have the CSV data without any index. So to read the CSV data, I need to import the pandas library and also the string IO module, which will help me with all the IO operations. I will define my CSV data with the column separator as comma and a new line separator as /n. So this CSV data object is going to store the comma separated values. Next, I need to read the data, for which I'll be calling the read_CSV method by passing the CSV data as the input. So this method will read the CSV format and will generate a data frame out of it. I'm printing the values of the data frame and the data types of the columns. So this is the data frame containing the CSV values, and these are the data types of the columns that have been imported from the CSV data. To check the type of the CSV object, I can give print type of CSV1, which indicates that it is a data frame that is created. Now that we have imported this CSV data into a data frame, let's try to do the reverse process of converting this data frame to a CSV file. So I can do that by calling the toCSV method by giving the path of the file where this CSV file has to be generated. So I want this CSV file to be generated in PyCharm projects hello, and the name should be sample1.csv. For now, ignore this index parameter. We'll mention it to be false. I'll explain you what it does in the subsequent examples. I can see that this sample1.csv got generated. When I open this file, I can see that it has got all the records which I've mentioned in the CSV file. Now that we have used a string for CSV data, let us now import the data from a file. So while importing the data from a file, I'll give the file path and the file name along with the separator. So here in this case, the separator is /t that separates the columns. So the CSV file is present in sample.csv, which is here. So this is the data which I have, which I'm going to convert to a data frame, and the data frame is going to be CSV1. And in turn, I'm going to write it to another CSV file, which is sample1.csv. When I execute this code, I can see that the CSV file got read and it is now generated to a data frame. This code tells us how to read the data from a CSV file and write it to a data frame. And once after the data is present in the data frame, how can we write it to another CSV file? So that is the reason why I have used both the methods here, which is read_CSV and to_CSV. Data in a data frame can be easily accessed with the help of an index. So now I want to create the data along with the multi-index or the hierarchical index on this data frame. In the CSV data, I will specify the index value as well and then import it to the data frame. So I have given section and roll number, which is going to hold the hierarchical index. I'll import this data to a data frame by calling the read_CSV method, and then I'll set the index on this CSV data frame with the desired columns such as section and roll number. Section and roll number is going to be the multi-index for this particular data frame CSV1. When we look at the output, so initially section and roll number were considered as the regular columns in the data frame. Later, when I set the index on section and roll number, it became the multi-index for this data frame. Earlier in my example, I had given index equal to false. Now I am giving index equal to true. So what is the difference? When I write the data from this data frame to sample1.csv, we have an option to choose if the index value also need to be exported to the CSV file or not. So in my example, I've given index equal to true. So this sample1 is going to contain the section and the roll number along with the data in the data frame. If I set this index to be false, then only the data gets exported but the index value does not. One possible challenge that we might encounter is with the datetime columns. So in this example, I have a column named modified on that is going to contain the datetime values. So when this data is loaded into a data frame, it gets created as an object or a text column. As we see here in this output window, modified on is an object and it is not a datetime column. We need to take one additional step for converting this column to a datetime column by calling the to_datetime method on this modified on column. So I'm going to change the data type of this modified on column from object to datetime. We can now notice that this modified on is on datetime column. We always might not have the complete data in the data frame. There will surely be missing data in one or more columns. In this example, we are going to deal with the missing data. Say for example, we have a missing data in the integer column. That is, the age of one particular student is not available. The age will be an integer value, but due to this missing data, that column got converted to float. But the business requirement is that I need to have the age column as an integer value and not as a float value. So I need to convert it back to integer. So for that, I'll have to convert this age column dot as type of integer, which will convert the column to the integer data type. So here we can see that the column got converted to integer type. So when it was float, the default missing marker was nan, but once after it got converted to integer, the default marker is NA. And we have address missing for one of the student in which the default marker is mentioned as NAN. In my CSV file, how can we identify this missing data? We will not have any data at all. Here in the first record, I don't have the modified on time at all. So in the first record, I don't have modified on date time. So I just gave it to be comma followed by a new line separator. This is the output of how the CSV file will look like in case of missing data. In the first record, the modified on was missing. So we don't have any value here. It is just comma followed by nothing. And in the fifth record again, there is no modified on. So in the data frame, we had NAT, whereas in the CSV file, we don't have any value as such. Then we have NAN in the address column in the next line. So it is just a comma where there is no value there. I have not specified any age for this particular student, so it is a comma here. And in our data frame, it is NA. Hey guys, hope you have got a clear picture of converting a CSV data to a data frame and vice versa.